The ability to innovate is an essential requirement for any company wanting to succeed in the rapidly changing high-tech industrial environment of the 21st century. But according to one leading expert, innovation in many cases is under threat from shareholders draining companies of finance for short-term returns. Professor William Lazonick is the head of the Centre for Industrial Competitiveness at the University of Massachusetts in the United States, and he told me that of particular concern in the US is the spread of share buybacks.
The money that is being used to buy back stock is coming from somewhere, and these are all companies that have lots of other things in which they can invest. And in fact, if they don't invest in them now, they're not going to have a future. And I can give you lots of examples of companies that got the buyback fever and didn't have a future. A good example is Motorola, which was a leading wireless company in the United States over a decade ago. In the mid-2000s, it had a lot of success with a phone called Razor, made lots of money. It bought back $8 billion of stock. Now it's been split up and sold off to Google. BlackBerry actually got the same disease, and that's one of the reasons why it's in decline. Research in Motion, which makes BlackBerry. I can go into endless examples of this. That's only the first problem. The second problem, which I argue, is basically when you reward top executives this way, you're paying to not do their jobs. So if their jobs are to figure out, for these powerful companies, a lot of them have been around a long time, have a lot of capabilities, what their future is, what they should invest in for the future, how they're going to make profits over the long run, how they're going to produce products that they can sell over the long run. If they're not thinking about that, then they're not doing their job. And I would say that when you put people at the top of companies who say, well, the best thing we can do with our money is just buy back our stock to get these temporary boosts in stock price, you have people who are not doing their job. And the problem is this is pervasive. It's very few critics of it. I'm one of the few academic critics who looks at this in any systematic way. And it's, I think, leading not just to a lack of finance, but a lack of strategic vision, you might say, and a lack of commitment to building the kind of organizations that can compete over the long run.
When you look around the Australian industrial landscape, do you see an innovative country here, or how do you see Australia?
Well, first of all, it's the first time I'm in Australia. Secondly, when I have something to say about anything, I usually know a lot more about it than I know about Australia at this point. So I'm going to pass on that question. I get the impression, if I can just give the impression, that Australia is positioned in terms of the way it's structured socially and economically, and the way it's also positioned given the geoeconomic shifts that have occurred, particularly toward Asia, that Australia could be an innovation leader. I don't see any reason why not, but I would emphasize not so much the government policies, because everybody knows what you need from government. You need investment in infrastructure, you need investment in education, you need R&D support. What I would look at is the business model, and that I don't know that much about in Australia. What I can say is that you wouldn't want to import the US business model as the model on which you try to innovate.
The Australian government has been subsidising old-style manufacturing, such as the car industry, to try and keep foreign car makers in Australia. Yeah. Would that money be better spent on innovation and high-tech industry?
That's a good question. Probably not. Insofar as you have a lot of employment in the auto industry, insofar as you can actually sell the products, I wouldn't say you want to get out of the auto industry. And it's not clear that being in the auto industry keeps you from moving into advanced technology. So that's the question.
But in terms of limited government money?
Yeah. So if the government is supporting that to the extent that it's not going to be the industry of the future, well, then an argument could be made that you want to move into other sectors. That having been said, the automobile industry is and always will be a major industry, and you'd have to think twice about saying, well, that's an industry in which a country like Australia can afford not to be in. So it's a fairly difficult question to answer.
Well, just finally, as I'm sure you're aware, we've just had a major political battle in this country over how much the government should take from the super profits of mining companies. what are the long-term implications for innovation and research of not wisely investing the super profits from the resources boom?
Well, I think obviously when you have resources that you're endowed with and that you're able to make lots of money on, then that is a source of finance for these technologies of the future, to educate the labor force, to train people, and to develop these strategic initiatives. I think you have to do it. And
so as a matter of policy, you think government should tax the super profits of boom industries?
The fact is, you can't remain a rich country if over the long term based on resources. You have to invest in people, you have to invest in new technologies and be a leader in new technology. I definitely believe that. And how exactly you invest that money takes a lot of intelligence and vision, but you have to do it. I have no doubt about that.
Some very interesting thoughts there. William Lazonick, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.